901 Shelby Drive, look alive, look alive. Niggas came up on this side, now they on the other side. Crept down the block, made a right, yeah. Cut the lights, yeah. Pay the price, yeah. Stay in my zone. Say that we been beefing, dog, but you on your own. Up hits and they change up the topic. I got a 19 and it fold in my pocket. Que tú eres mía, mía. Tú sabes que eres mía, mía. Tú misma lo decías. It's a little 10-piece for it just to blow it in the mall. Doesn't mean that we involved. Busy, the schedule busy. My head in a hoodie, my shorty a goodie. My cousins are crazy, my cousins like Boogie. Life is amazing, it is what it should be. Yeah. Kiki, do you love me? Are you riding? Wanna die for them to miss me. Yes, I see the things that they wishing on me. Everybody get your motherfucking roll on. I know shorty and she doesn't want no slow song. A rolling, not a stop. Watch shit don't never stop. I got the game in a squeeze. Who disagree? I wanna see one of y'all run up a beat.
"2018 was a defining year for one of the greatest in our generation, Drake. For many artists, having one hit song in a year is a success. 2 hits, that's a career-defining moment. But in 2018, Drake wasn't playing by normal rules, because in the span of just 12 months, Drake didn't just dominate hip-hop, he dominated the entire music industry. He was just on a legendary run, bro. I mean, this was the time where if you had a feature from Drake, just know you and the song was gonna blow up. Drake was really blessing all these other rappers with features and giving them a hit to boost their career. Plus, he went on to drop Scorpion, which had a bunch of hits as well. I was about 13 or 14 years old at that time, and I really didn't notice the run Drake was on. I was just really vibing to the music that was playing already. It all started when he dropped God's Plan at the start of the year. It was a cool song in my opinion. It's one of those songs where you only play it to listen to one part of the song and one part of the song only, and you know that part of the song only, and you know what I'm talking about. She know that she loved me. I'll tell her, hey, Poppy, my bad, my mom, I'm sorry.
What?
Then he dropped Nice for What, and that was a cool mellow song for the ladies. But when Drake dropped In My Feelings in the summer of 2018, that's when things started taking off. The song was so viral. He had rappers, singers, actors, every celebrity you can name hop out of their car to dance to the song while the car was moving. Everywhere you looked, Drake was there. When he finally released his double album Scorpion, the numbers were historic. Streaming records were shattered, chart records were broken, and Drake became the biggest artist on the planet. But what made 2018 so fascinating wasn't just the hits, it was how strategic the entire run was. The features, the viral moments, the streaming domination, the album rollout, all of it combined to create one of the most dominant years any artist had ever had in their lives. So today, we're breaking down the full story of Drake's 2018 takeover, the songs, the features, the album, the viral moment, and how one artist managed to control the entire music industry for an entire year. This is the story of Drake's 2018 dominance. At the start of 2018, Drake was already one of the biggest stars in the world. He already dominated previous years with projects like Views and More Life and Take Care, and nothing was the same. But entering 2018, the industry was in a different place. Streaming had completely taken over music consumption. Viral moments mattered more than ever, and the charts were being reshaped by how many people discovered music online. Drake understood the new landscape better than anyone else, and in January of 2018, he quietly made the first move. Instead of announcing a major album rollout, Drake released a small, mysterious 2-song EP titled Scary Hours. No long marketing campaign, no elaborate press run, just 2 songs. One of them was God's Plan. At first glance, it didn't seem like anything revolutionary. Drake's delivery felt relaxed, almost effortless, but the message of the song was something deeper. Instead of aggressive rap braggadocio, Drake leaned into reflection, lines about loyalty, destiny, and survival in the spotlight. Within hours of its release, the song was everywhere, and then something historic happened. God's Plan debuted at #1 on the Billboard's Hot 100. That alone was a massive achievement. Debuting a song at #1 is one of the rarest accomplishments in the music industry, but what made this moment different was how the song stayed there, week after week, month after month. God's Plan held the spot for 11 consecutive weeks, becoming the biggest song of the year and one of the defining hits of the streaming era. But the real cultural explosion came when Drake released a music video. Instead of creating a typical flashy rap video filled with luxury cars and jewelry, Drake did something completely unexpected and left field. He gave away nearly $1 million in the video. The video showed Drake walking through Miami, handing out stacks of cash, paying for groceries, donating to schools, and surprising strangers with life-changing gifts. The moment instantly went viral. People weren't just watching the video because it was Drake. They were watching because it felt real, emotional, human. Clips of videos spread across social media platforms, turning God's Plan into more than a hit song. But what made no one realize yet was that God's Plan was only the beginning, because while the song was still sitting comfortably at number 1, Drake was already preparing the next move and what would become one of the most dominant runs in music history. And the next move will prove something important. In 2018, Drake wasn't just releasing hits, he was controlling the entire conversation of music. Alright, time to jump to the features that Drake did in 2018. Now that God's Plan was dominating crazy, Drake took advantage of that momentum and shared it with upcoming artists. For nearly a decade, Drake had mastered something few artists in hip-hop history had perfected: the power of the feature verse. A Drake feature wasn't just another collaboration, it was a cultural event. It was always common for a bigger artist to feature on a smaller artist's song, and that song will blow up due to the bigger artist's verse, and that's exactly what Drake did and had done in 2018. This man was blessing everyone's song with a verse, and it blew up instantly. One of the many reasons Drake features were so powerful was because of something fans jokingly called the Drake stimulus package. Now, all of you should know that a stimulus package is basically something government gives to people who are struggling and need that extra money and boost to move on in their lives. Now, when people say Drake stimulus package, they're saying that Drake was giving out a helping hand to upcoming artists, and I can't call them struggling because some of them artists Drake worked with had already hits in their hands and music that was good already. But Drake definitely elevated their careers and brought them to a mainstream audience when he hopped on their song. When Drake appeared on a song with a rising artist, the exposure alone could change their career overnight. And in 2018, Drake gave that stimulus package to several artists who will become to major artists now. Now, one of the first major features Drake did in 2018 was with BlocBoy JB on his song Look Alive. Before the song dropped, BlocBoy JB was regional buzz in Memphis, but he wasn't a national star yet. Then Drake hopped on the record. For the moment the beat drops, Drake opens the song with a calm but confident energy. 901 Shelby Drive, look alive, look alive. The chorus alone made the song blow up. And I gotta give it to Drake and his ghostwriters. Them dudes definitely know how to write a good catchy hook and chorus. Look Alive exploded on streaming platforms and radio, eventually peaking inside of the top 5 on the Billboard's Hot 100. For BlocBoy JB, it was career changing. For Drake, it was just another example of his ability to inject rock fuel into a record. Not to mention, the music video is so raw, taking place in the gym with the entire entourage in the background. Next came Walk It, Talk It with Migos. By 2018, Migos was already dominating hip-hop with their album Culture 2, and Walk It, Talk It was one of the standout tracks as well. Drake had a cool verse, addressing Joe Budden and talking shit, of course, and it wasn't anything crazy, but it was everything at the same time. When the music video dropped, the song's cultural impact grew even bigger. Styled in a retro 1970s dance show, the visual featured Drake and the Migos performing on stage inspired by classic soul television programs, complete with flashy suits and synchronized dancing. The video became instantly memorable and helped push the song even further into the mainstream. And once again, Drake proved something that would define his 2018 run. He didn't need to dominate every part of the song. Sometimes just one Drake verse was enough to elevate the entire song. If there was one collaboration that truly represented Drake's ability to spot the next generation early, it was Yes Indeed with Lil Baby. At the time, Lil Baby was still emerging from Atlanta's rap scene, but once Drake appeared on the record, the momentum changed immediately. Although Drake was on the song, I think Lil Baby had the most memorable part of the song. Brand new whip, got no keys, tell him my clothes don't starch please. I remember the part of the song most because it was just being played more frequently than Drake's part. However, Drake being featured on the song gave Lil Baby an extra boost in popularity. Not to mention, Drake will also feature on another song with Lil Baby called Never Recover, which also featured Gunna, but Gunna was also an up-and-coming artist as well. Now, Drake isn't new to expanding and reaching other cultures, so what better way to do that even further than to collaborate with Bad Bunny? The collaboration surprised many fans. Instead of rapping in English, Drake performed his entire verse in Spanish. This showed how aware Drake was of the global music shift happening at that time, particularly the explosive rise of Latin music around the world. Mia quickly became a massive international hit. It was another reminder that Drake wasn't just a rap star, he was expanding his popularity to the global audience. Drake will also feature on songs like No Complaints, which was a bonus track on Metro Boomin's Not All Here Wears Capes. Now, back in 2015, Drake and Meek Mill were locked in one of the biggest rap beefs of the decade. The conflict produced diss tracks like Back to Back, which became a cultural phenomenon and pushed the rivalry into mainstream headlines. For years afterward, the two rappers remained distant, but in 2018, something changed. After Meek Mill was released from prison earlier that year, the conversation around him shifted dramatically. He had become a powerful voice for criminal justice reform, gaining widespread support from artists and public figures across the industry. In September 2018, fans were shocked when Drake brought Meek Mill out on stage during his Balls to Coaster, publicly ending their beef and feud in front of thousands of people. And just 2 months later, the two produced a song together. Going Bad was a hit song, of course. Even though it arrived late in the year, Going Bad perfectly fit the theme of Drake's 2018 dominance. The collaboration symbolized something bigger than just another feature. It showed how one of the most famous rap feuds of the decade had officially ended, and that two of hip-hop's biggest stars were now on the same side. Now, to finally top off the features, Drake would not only feature on one of the hottest songs in 2018, but really, in my opinion, the best album in 2018, Astroworld. By the summer of 2018, Drake was already dominating the year. He had just dropped Scorpion, which dropped in June of 2018, and it went #1, of course. But in August, all of that was about to change. Drake added another massive moment to his run, this time appearing on one of the most explosive songs of the decade. That song was Sicko Mode from Travis Scott. It became the biggest hit of his career and helped cement Astroworld as one of the most defining rap albums of the late 2010s. And for Drake, it was yet another example of his presence being felt across the entire music industry. Even when he wasn't the main artist, even when he only appeared for a portion of the track, his voice still opened one of the most important hip-hop records of the year. By the time Sicko Mode took over the charts, something became clear. Drake wasn't just dominating with his own music. He had woven into the biggest moments of other artists' careers as well, from Look Alive with BlocBoy JB, to Yes Indeed with Lil Baby, to Sicko Mode with Travis Scott. Everywhere you looked in 2018, Drake was there. And the craziest part, the biggest moment of his year was still coming, because in June 2018, Drake would release a project that would completely reshape the streaming era, Scorpion. By the summer of 2018, Drake had already dominated the year. God's Plan had spent months at #1. Nice for What had taken over radio. His features were everywhere, from Yes Indeed with Lil Baby to Sicko Mode with Travis Scott. But the biggest moment of Drake's 2018 was still coming, because on June 29th, 2018, Drake released his 5th studio album, Scorpion. And the moment the album dropped, it became clear that Drake wasn't just releasing another project. He was carefully designing his next takeover. Scorpion was ambitious. The album contained 25 songs and was split into 2 distinctive halves. Side A focused primarily on rap, Side B leaned heavily into R&B and melodic records. This structure reflected something Drake had been balancing throughout his career, the dual identity that made him unique. On one side, he was a sharp lyricist capable of aggressive rap performances. On the other side, he was one of the most commercially successful R&B influenced artists of his generation. Scorpion fully embraced both sides of that identity. However, despite the features in the album, there was a diss track that was so diabolical that it had the whole rap game on pause. Just 2 weeks before the album dropped, Drake found himself in one of the most intense rap conflicts of his career, the feud with Pusha T. The conflict escalated when Pusha T released a brutal diss track called The Story of Adidon, or Adion, whatever, which revealed that Drake had a son the public didn't know about. Pusha mentioning Drake's dad being absent, his baby mom being a porn star, and Drake hiding some from the world.
You are hiding a child, let that boy come home. Deadbeat motherfucker playing border patrol. Ooh, respect that girl, forget she's a porn star. Let her be your world, yeah.
It was a very intense diss track, man, I can't lie. The revelation instantly became one of the biggest hip-hop stories of the year. Suddenly, the conversation around Drake shifted. Fans weren't just waiting for an album anymore, they were waiting for Drake's response. So instead of shying away from the situation, he addressed it directly. On the emotional song called Emotionless, Drake references the public scrutiny surrounding his personal life. But the most direct song comes on the last song on the album called March 14th. On the song, Drake openly confirms the existence of his son, explaining the complicated circumstances surrounding fatherhood and privacy. Rather than responding with pure aggression, Drake approached the situation with reflection. The moment gave fans a rare glimpse into the personal side of his life, something he had kept guarded for years. Despite the diss tracks and whatnot, Scorpion was a massive success. It broke a bunch of records and streaming records in a single day the time it was released. It reinforced Drake's position as the most dominant artist of the streaming generation. By the end of the year, something about Drake's 2018 run felt different from any other moment in his career. Drake had already dominated other years before. In 2018, he controlled hip-hop with projects like If You're Reading This Is Too Late and What a Time to Be Alive with Future. In 2016, he ruled the charts with Views and the global smash hit One Dance. But 2018 was different because this wasn't just a successful album cycle, it was a total industry domination. In 2018, Drake's presence wasn't limited to his own music, he was everywhere. His singles dominated radio and streaming platforms. Songs like God's Plan, Nice for What, and In My Feelings became cultural anthems. At the same time, his voice was appearing on some of the most biggest records of the year, from Look Alive with Block Boy JB, to Yes Indeed with Lil Baby, to Sicko Mode with Travis Scott, and later Going Bad with Meek Mill. Drake wasn't just dominating the charts, he was embedded in the biggest moments across hip-hop. Another reason 2018 stood out was how perfectly Drake understood the streaming era. The release of Scorpion demonstrated this better than anything else. With 25 songs in a double album format, the project was designed to thrive on streaming platforms, and when it dropped, the results were historic. Every song on the album was charted on the Billboard's Hot 100, and Drake broke every record for the most simultaneous charts entries by a single artist ever. For a moment, it felt like the entire chart belonged to him. It was proof that Drake had mastered new rules of the music industry. When historians look back at Drake's career, several years will stand out, but 2018 will always feel special because it was the moment when everything aligned together. The hits, the album, the features, the viral moments, the streaming dominance. For an entire year, it felt like every major moment in music somehow connected back to one artist, and that artist was Drake. In 2018, the music industry didn't just revolve around an album, it revolved around him.